So I am beating USC like 42-10 on college football, but I had to stop it so we can start the Big at 11 college football kickoff show.
Oh man, we're so sorry we interrupted your college football 25. Oh, I'm
Bro, yeah,
sorry.
I'm coaching Notre Dame to a
How rude
national
of us.
championship.
Felix, what up?
What up, Felix? I don't even know if Felix is still in the room, is he? Because he said that at 10:30. Dedicated. I like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, if
Early,
you're still in the room, Felix, we appreciate you for sure. You already
punctual,
know.
much more punctual than I would be. I'm just saying. All right. Well, obviously, we got to get in here and talk some college football. Shout out to everybody who's showing up. We're getting more people in the chat, obviously.
Sure, for sure. Appreciate you.
While
Make
we
sure you
wait,
go ahead and smash the like, smash it so we can get some more people in here. We definitely appreciate you trying to grow the channel, grow the live. Yep, subscribe as well.
We actually, speaking of which, that last video, a lot of Oregon Ducks fans.
I was about to say, I appreciate the Quackers. They're a much more civil crowd than I thought they were gonna be. Definitely compared to y'all. So I don't know why y'all had so much beef with them. They're very civil people.
I think the YouTube viewership of the Oregon Duck fan base is very civil.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was valid. I like them.
But the fan base overall, okay, we'll see. I've seen some Twitter and some Facebook users that are a little bit different.
You know what? You know what, Duck fans? I'll do you one. Well, you know what? I can't say that this week because we're playing, y'all. I'll save it for next week. But I got a gift for y'all. You know, I got a gift. Got a gift. Yep. We'll see how tonight goes, and then I may pitch the gift, but we'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, yeah, no, a lot of Duck fans. Shout out to the Duck fans. Obviously, shout out to the Buckeye fans. What up, fam? Go Bucks! Go Bucks!
I guess we'll allow them.
And then shout out to the Michigan fans that watch.
To the champs.
Like I guess.
Respect it as always. It's hard, man. It's tough. I mean, look at this. It's hard to go 15-0, bro. It is hard to go 15.
It is very hard to go 15-0. That's facts.
Toughie. It's a real and then to cap it off with a national championship. It's just, it's almost like it had never been done before.
Not so hard when you got Connor Stallions on your sideline. Just kidding. Totally kidding.
Just like maybe it wasn't so hard in 2014 when you had a Bagman before Bagman was legal.
All right, fair enough. I'll take that. All right. Do you want to talk about any out of conference games before we get into the thick of it?
Man, what is on the docket? Let me pull up my ESPN. Talk to whoever's in the chat here before.
I know a couple of SEC games that I was really conflicted on. Kentucky and Tennessee.
External server. Appreciate you. What's going on?
Not that I think Kentucky is going to beat Tennessee, but I think the spread was something crazy, and I was just like, I don't know.
Kentucky, Tennessee. Let me see what's going on here. Larry Ball, what up?
Vandy versus Auburn, I think. And Auburn's at home, so I was a little conflicted on that one too.
All right. So, okay. We had San Diego, Boise State last night. That was a drumming.
His name is not Larry Ball. It's LeVar Ball now. Since you called him LeVar Ball at one time.
No. I can reset. I think Duke Miami is interesting just because it feels like the toughest parts of Miami's schedule hasn't happened yet. Like I don't think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they've struggled at spots. Obviously, they're 8-0, but it feels like when I look at their schedule, when I look at Miami's schedule, let's see who they've beaten. Not now, ESPN.
Let's see, Miami.
I got them up here. So they beat Florida State, they beat Louisville, they beat Cal, they beat Virginia Tech, they beat South Florida, they beat Ball State, they beat Florida A&M, and they beat Florida. And while it's impressive to still be 8-0, again, it's a hard thing to stay undefeated. It really doesn't feel like they did a whole lot to get there.
Oh, I agree.
It doesn't feel like they did a whole lot to get there. So I'm paying attention to the Duke Miami game there. Let's see what else is going on. It catches my radar. I don't care about Ole Miss, Arkansas. Minnesota. No.
Yeah, I don't believe in Duke. That's the hard thing about that one is that Duke, they haven't played literally anybody all season. So yeah, they're 6-2, but their opponents have been Elon, Northwestern, UConn, Middle Tennessee, UNC, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and they lost to SMU last week.
I guess in that it would be more so my questioning of Miami, my questioning of the Hurricanes, as opposed to how I feel about how good I feel about Duke. It's not, oh man, they running into the powerhouse of the Blue Devils kind of thing. But
yeah,
I guess that's where most of my skepticism comes there.
Yeah, no, I've been expecting Miami to take a loss at some point, so we'll see.
We can talk about that Tennessee Kentucky game.
Yeah, let me see.
Kentucky has given some people some trouble this year. They're not a very good team. They're only 3-5.
Their offense was so much better when they were playing non-conference teams, and all of a sudden
fell off the face of earth. Yeah, man. That FedEx money ain't spending so well now. You know what I mean? When
$8 million
when
on
reality hits, I was about to say. It's crazy. Again, Michigan has had their problems this year, but there are still programs out there that you can point and look at. So it ain't so bad, Michigan fans. It ain't so bad because you could be Kentucky. You could be the who are was it the Joneses, the twins that decommitted to us for the NIL package at Kentucky.
I remember what you're talking about, but I can't remember who they were.
Who are they? Who are they? What are their names? I forgot about them. The damn Smith. The Smith twins. That's who it was. It was Gerard and his brother Smith, I believe.
Jacob and Gerard.
There you go. Yeah. I know they're enjoying Kentucky this season.
Yikes.
Have at it, boys. In any case, I expect if Tennessee is for real, then I expect them to be able to overcome whatever they get from Brock Vandagriff and the Kentucky Wildcats over there. It should be one of those talent win outs kind of games, right?
Sure.
That's what it feels like. So if they've truly arrived in the SEC, if they're really a competitor there in that conference, then they should get past that pretty easily. I don't have too much worries there with UK.
I think my only hesitation was there was like a 17.5 point spread, and I'm like, I don't know if Tennessee is going to beat them that bad, but we'll see.
Yeah, we shall see.
The only other one that I saw of note was SMU versus Pitt. Considering how great Pitt's defense looked against Syracuse, I don't know.
SMU versus Pitt. I haven't watched a lot of Pitt this year. I'm not gonna lie, so I don't really have a call for that one.
That's fair. Yeah, no, Pitt.
I haven't watched a lot of Pitt. I haven't watched any SMU, so I can't give you anything on that match.
Terrorized Kyle McCord. 5 interceptions with the 3.
Yeah. Okay. No, I saw that, but that's like the only thing I've seen of Pitt.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I haven't seen anything of SMU.
I feel like Pitt has had some games where it didn't look so great, but coming off that week, I feel a little more confident in them. But SMU's offense looks decent too. So, Pittsburgh only beat Cincinnati by 1 point. They only beat West Virginia by 4. Yeah.
I got you.
So, I mean, they've had some slip ups, but then they look good in some other games. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, ready to get into some Big Ten talk?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you wanted to, because there's definitely, obviously, some fireworks in the recruiting world going off. Do you want to end it with that?
Yeah, we can either
first
end it or start it. It doesn't matter to me. I know you really want to talk about what could potentially be happening with a certain quarterback, but
I'd rather talk about what's already happening. You know what I mean? For me personally, I think what's already transpired is a sign of things to come in the future. But hey, let's talk about the games. We got games to talk about. We can get to that later.
Well, obviously, the first game coming on at 12 o'clock that everybody's already hyped for is our game versus Penn State. And, obviously, we already did a review on it or a preview on it with Johnny during the week. Look, man, Drew Aller seems to be playing, and so I'm a little bit more confident, which is crazy. I shouldn't be more confident that the starter is playing than, obviously, the unknown.
Yeah, it's a little nuts.
But Drew Aller just hasn't looked like a threat so much. I told Johnny that he's only thrown for over 250 twice, and one of those games was against Kent State. So like,
yeah,
not much of a
granted
passing.
though. I don't think they're sure. I don't think their offense is necessarily built on, offense, or excuse me, passing explosion. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that was necessarily the game plan for Penn State going into the year. However, you may be right in that stationary quarterbacks have been less successful versus Ohio State's offense this year than the mobile guys.
Mobile quarterbacks
Maybe there's a
huge wrench in our defense.
Yeah, running quarterbacks have again, it's killing me. We were talking about this when we were setting up before the show. It's killing me watching running quarterbacks hurt Ohio State, knowing that we got to play Ohio State and that we have done absolutely nothing to foster the quarterback running game other than last week. But I digress. Anyways, I guess from that standpoint, maybe there's something there, but then you would have to totally lean into it for it to be, that much of a difference maker to cover up what Prebula isn't as a passer as opposed to Aller. So, we'll see how that goes. And I think that Penn State has some really good advantages in a couple of spots. Obviously, Ohio State's offensive line is in the emergency room right now, right? Like we're doing things that we didn't want to do before the season. We're kicking Donovan Jackson out the tackle. Josh Simmons is out for the rest of the year. I don't know where McCloskey's at, if he's going to play.
I don't think he is.
Not going to play. Okay, so then we're down to our third left tackle, which is technically our starting guard. And now who's playing guard to cover up Donovan Jackson?
I hope Carson Hinsman.
Okay. So we've got multiple spots here that are question marks, and you're playing one of the tougher opponents you're going to play all year on the road, and they have a dominant defensive line. So it is a spot where they can really wreak havoc and kind of change the calculus of the game for Ohio State right away. I think the thing that negates that is being able to run the ball. But then again, this has the same questions, because of the offensive line. Are you going to be able to run the ball successfully? It's been 2 weeks in a row now. Juggins off of his hand surgery. He's been held to but under 50 yards or something like that.
Something crazy. Yeah.
It's not like they've gotten into the momentum of really running the rock and road grading people here as of late. You're going to need to take the pressure off of some of that pass rush. Off of Howard early. You're gonna have to find a way to do it. Do they take more shots to compensate it? Do they get into more quick game? All of that sounds good in theory, but then it also leaves you susceptible to getting behind the chains.
Sure.
So I don't think that either side really is in a dominant position per se, because I like what Ohio State has on the outside more than I like what Penn State has on the back end. But you got to be able to get the ball to him. You know what I mean? And so if Will Howard is not comfortable, he is a quarterback that he's shown this year, even through Ohio State success, that he'll throw you the ball. He'll have a yit play every now and again, and pressure only exacerbates that. It's only going to make it worse. So
sure,
it's going to be very early to see what happens in the first quarter of this game. How did both sides plan to attack each other with, the perceived weaknesses on each side? What's their counter move, right? So if Ohio State gets pressured early, the offensive line is not looking dependable early, what do they go to? You know what I mean? What is the pivot? Those are the things I'm looking for, for sure.
No, that's absolutely facts. I think in the last couple of games, Quinshawn has been pretty much non-existent. Like you said, I think the last game, 10 carries for 29 yards is establishing the run is going to be key, and that's really going to be dependent on how well they block and get up to those linebackers. There's so many different variables. I do agree with Larry Ball that Drew Aller is talented. He is just not a threat, and their receiving core is not a threat to me. And I think I'm happy that Denzel Burke doesn't have to play anybody that's, worth anything at the most part. So
Josh, maybe you can help me with something. I don't know, we're probably not set up on this channel yet, but were we
I think
enabled?
we are under the amount for subscribership on this channel specifically.
For sure.
I think. Don't quote me. It's not turned off though.
So good therapist. I appreciate you. Appreciate the thought. Appreciate you having us, in your mind to do so. Help us out. Help us grow. So we can start taking that. I definitely appreciate that.
Yep. Okay. So then, yeah, that really only leads. The only thing on their offense that I'm worried about, which would be Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, and I just don't think they're that being a one-dimensional side of things, because I feel like we will be good enough to stop Drew Aller in the receiving core. I don't think that's enough. I don't feel like that's enough.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You say that, and in theory, again, sounds good. It's just kind of like how we were talking about on the offensive side. On the defensive side for Ohio State, are you not at least nervous here now that we've seen in back-to-back weeks that the secondary, your back end now, is very susceptible to anybody who can run a 9? You know what I'm saying? Anybody who can get down the middle of the field or affect the defense laterally outside the hashes is going to give you guys problems, right?
But you know what will help with that? If we can get pressure on the quarterback. And limit the amount of time he has to get that ball out there.
It came alive at times during the Nebraska game. I would blame, thinking back about it now, it seems like it was more so misassignments. I remember specifically the play where JT got open for his sack in that game. It was just, they just let him go. They didn't even block him. They just kind of let him, you know what I'm saying? I don't see that happening too often at Penn State. So again, yeah, it's going to be whether or not you can affect Drew Aller the way that we expect Penn State to affect Will Howard. And if it's not similar or competitive to some degree, then that's going to start to tilt things Penn State's way. The other unspoken factor in all of this is the fact that Penn State has had so many swings at this, right? And they've had better teams with better offenses in years past, and we know how James Franklin and the Nittany Lions go against Ohio State. They usually go the way of the Buffalo. So like that's kind of like the elephant in the room. No matter what the scheme is, no matter what the advantage is, no matter how the game plays out between quarter 1 and 3.5, there always seems to be something about this game for Franklin that goes awry. You know what I mean? A lead late in the game, going for it on 4th down, not going for it on 4th down. Just damning decisions in the middle of these fights that ends up hurting Penn State in the long run. So it's a thing. It has proven to be a thing.
When all else fails, I know that I can depend on the fact that James Franklin will indeed, like the good therapist says, will do something boneheaded to give it up. So even if it's close, and I'm going to be honest with you, I do think Penn State does a lot of things great, and I do think that they should be a team that should be feared going into the game. But they haven't played anybody. Ohio State is battle tested. This game is at 12 o'clock. Happy Valley at 12 o'clock versus Happy Valley at 7:30 is a completely different thing. Sure. It's not as threatening as it would be if it was at a 7:30 game.
You are catching people at peak tailgate though. Like they haven't even had a time to come down. So you're as they're getting in there mid first quarter, early second quarter, they're gonna be peak buzz, and everybody's gonna be having gotten their seats. So there is gonna be a little bit towards it. It's gonna be a little bit.
Not to say that it's completely like a different, but like it's a different field for sure at 12 than it is 7:30.
Wanted to respond to External's comment. I don't. It's hard to call, man, because while maybe I don't think Penn State is elite, I think the vulnerabilities on Ohio State's team right now line up very well for Penn State.
That's fair.
So that's what makes this game so interesting. Again, it's kind of like the Duke and Miami game we were talking about earlier. It's not so much that I believe in Duke. It's that I believe that there are holes on the other side that they can exploit. So this game's about matchups. We'll see how it ends up playing out.
Yeah, no, but like I said, I mean, a team who had to go to overtime with USC versus a team that only lost by 1 point versus the number 1 team in the country. It's a little different.
I mean, that transitive property don't work like that. We beat USC in regulation. Do you think we're better than Penn State?
Kidding.
No. You see how that works? You see how that shit bites you in the ass? It's like it makes sense until it doesn't.
That's fair. That is fair. And so ultimately, when it comes to this game, we have to play the game to figure out who is actually definitively better than the other one. But I don't know. We're here. I'm ready for it. I'm excited.
Hey man, y'all got to kick off the day. That is a privilege. I hope y'all show up and show out.
I agree. It sounds like Will Howard is ready to do so. It sounds like Ryan Day is.
Before we move on, because we definitely need to get onto some more games. But what do you think about the bulletin board material with the whole? Oh, I really wanted to go to Penn State. They said it wasn't good enough. I guess we'll see tomorrow. Like, fam, why give them? They've already have this long streak of not beating you. Like, why give them extra motivation?
So that is a thing for recruits. They do want to get over on the teams that didn't choose them. I think we've seen that with some of the Michigan players in beating Ohio State 3 times. That's a thing.
Yeah, I would say though,
it's not the ultimate factor. But
I was going to say that story didn't come out until after we beat y'all. Like he saved himself from having his words taped up into the opposing defense's locker all week. Fair. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I think one better as well. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. JT has some bulletin board material now that good therapist.
What did he say? I own this game.
No, Franklin mispronounced his name seemingly intentionally, like he didn't know who JT was. And it's like, oh no, you know who I am. I came through last time at Happy Valley and wrecked shit, so you know who I am.
The name Tuamolau is ingrained in the Franklin's brain.
Yeah, so
again, he single-handedly won the last 2 games.
Don't act like you don't know me, fam.
James Franklin has single-handedly built up JT's career. I'm not lying to you. If JT goes in the first 45 picks of the NFL draft, he needs to send a check to James Franklin.
Facts.
He absolutely needs to, for sure. Because this is his game. You are right, good therapist.
Facts. All right. Any other thoughts on Ohio State, Penn State? Like you said,
let's move on from this. Let's get on to some other games.
All right, bet. So the next game that I've got on this list here. Any thoughts on Northwestern versus Purdue?
Northwestern, Purdue. Well, I like Northwestern a lot more than I like Purdue. Purdue is probably the worst team in the Big Ten.
Purdue UCLA had a good showing against Rutgers.
Nope. It's Purdue. It is Purdue.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's Purdue. I actually watched them play. Was it last week to see what the hell was going on offense, man? Because I felt like with Hudson Card and having Devin Mockapee and the other running back they got down there, it's like they should have something coherent. Like, what are they trying to do? Mm-hmm. And I don't think they know which way is up. They fired Graham Harrell. It looks even worse than it did before they fired Graham Harrell. Mockapee's getting like 8 or 9 carries a half. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on there, but they are truly terrible. Maybe they have a soft coach. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it.
Could be.
But give me Northwestern to cover. They have to be favored, so I'm taking Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, I do obviously see that Purdue is at home, but again, yeah,
Northwestern. I thought you were going to say dog shit. My bad.
Well, they are that as well. But yeah, that plus the fact that Northwestern has had good games this season, whereas Purdue has not.
Not at all.
Northwestern, I think it's pretty clear on that one. Okay, last 12 o'clock game today is going to be Minnesota versus Illinois. Now, obviously, Illinois is ranked, but Minnesota has been playing some good football. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if I want to give Illinois the edge, but roll your boat. He's been doing some things. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this is Illinois at home, right?
Yes.
This is in Champaign. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We should have beat those guys. So it's hard to respect Illinois the way that they deserve to be respected because they beat us, fair and square on the field. Mm-hmm. I think some of their, prospects for the rest of the season are inflated by that win, rightfully so, right? You beat a even a down Michigan team. after not doing so for so many years and coming off of I think they're 2-loss team. 3-loss team. Okay, so they had literally the same record as us. Oh my God, we should have beat them. Should have beat that team.
Oh, I'm sorry, Illinois. Are we talking Illinois?
Illinois, yeah.
Illinois is 2-loss. Sorry,
it's 2-loss. Okay, yeah. Illinois is a 2-loss team. That's what I thought. So I hate for it to continue to be like a put up or shut up kind of thing for Illinois, considering the kind of season that they've already had and already beaten my team. I just think that there's a little bit hidden in between those wins for them. I expect a dogfight here with the Gophers. No score prediction, but give me Minnesota.
Okay.
Give me Minnesota. Yeah.
In a close one?
In a close one, yeah, in a tight one. Yep.
All right. Yeah. I think I got Illinois on this one.
I mean, I don't know. See, I expect Minnesota to do what we should have done and absolutely feed them, run. If you have to punt and flip the field, do that. But don't give them a chance to affect the game the way that they were able to. You know what I'm saying? By putting the ball in the air as much as you did. There's an obvious weakness on their defense, and it's in the run game. Exploit it. That's how Iowa was able to beat the dog shit out of them, because that's what they leaned into. They didn't give them an opportunity to fight back into the game or to stifle the offense, because they pressed on their weakness relentlessly.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people who have forgotten about doing that.
No, that's fair. Let's see. Illinois. Who did Illinois play last week? Oh, they lost to Oregon.
Lost to Oregon last week. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Poof, drumming.
Yeah.
Absolute drumming.
And they're at home. I have a feeling that Illinois is going to find a way to win this one. Just a sneaking suspicion. So we'll see. Okay. Next game is going to be at 3:30. Is it you guys' game? No. We're going to talk about Indiana versus Michigan State first.
I think I've seen somebody saying Michigan State was going to upset IU. That would be the upset of the Big Ten so far. Yeah, for sure.
That would be the upset of the Big Ten. For sure. And I don't see it happening.
No, not at all. I don't see it at all. Don't see it at all. Don't really see the weaknesses on Indiana's side for Michigan State to get in or gain an advantage. Rourke is coming back. Right, they're going to have him back at the starting lineup this year.
Even if they didn't, though, so.
Yeah, I would say even if they didn't, Jackson was running the offense pretty well as it was, but having their starter back gives them the rest of the team that extra confidence to kind of play at their best. Michigan State is just kind of caught in this year of, we got a young quarterback still taking his lumps, bringing him along.
Causing turnovers, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If he could keep the turnovers away, get the ball to Glover, get the ball to Marsh, they give themselves a chance. They turn the ball over too much, and they're terrible in the red zone. So I expect them to go the way to Buffalo.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Indiana's got a couple of games that are coming up that are going to be a little different for them, but that offense is too high powered for Michigan State to overcome. I just don't see any way that Michigan State is going to make that happen. But if they could, that'd fare pretty well going into Michigan and Ohio State. Sure. I'd feel a little bit better about how things look against them. Okay. Sure. But yeah, no, Indiana's going to steamroll them. All right. UCLA versus Nebraska. I was really conflicted about this one. I think Nebraska might take everything out against UCLA just because, after losing a close enough game against Ohio State, they're going to look to get some payback against somebody, and UCLA is such a perfect team to take that out against.
Yeah. I agree. I think Nebraska, this is a get right week for them. It's a lesser talented team. It's a team that's kind of like on the ropes. This is a week where Matt Rule is able to put all the things that they found in film that could have won them the Ohio State game into place here and get the execution down. So you can say, look, if we come out, we do what we didn't do last week, this is what we can be. Even though the talent levels are demonstrative, it's not at all the same type of matchup. but that's how you would teach it, right? Like you go in and say, these are the plays that lost us the game. If we do these next week, we'll be successful. And that earns the trust of your locker room. It earns the trust of the young guys that are getting put into, crucial positions for Nebraska here. And they'll pay dividends, not just for the end of this season, but in early parts of next season as well. So I won't say that he's, coaching for the future per se, but these are the parts of the season where you can start getting some building blocks in, you know what I mean? Start putting some experience in some of these guys' buckets. Terrence, all due respect, I grew up here in Columbus, Ohio, fam. And the Bagman is the least of the things you want to discuss about your dear old university, if that's who you were trying to defend. Okay. The least of the things that you want to defend.
Yikes. Anyway, yeah. So
but I appreciate you, bro. Give us a light, man. I haven't seen your name before. Appreciate you coming into the live.
That's crazy. So, okay, the thing about UCLA for me is that, again, going into that Rutgers game, I didn't expect much from them. They had only won one game, but they looked really good. Out of nowhere, their offense seemed to have a huge spark. And it was just a UCLA team that I had not seen all season, because every team was pretty much steamrolling them at that point. And so to get that win over Rutgers, who Rutgers obviously seems like they're not the team that they have been in recent years, but for them to get that win over them and then go into a bye week, while I do say that Nebraska is going to beat them because of what happened last week, and like you said, they're going to get some things out there on the field that they've seen in tape, I do think UCLA will probably hope to come to play a little bit. So it may be a little bit closer than expected, but at the same time, Nebraska's probably still going to beat them by a couple scores, with the added fact that Nebraska wins this game, they're bowl eligible and they're at home. So we'll see. Okay. Oh, another 3:30 game. Number 1 Oregon versus Michigan. You got some things to say about this one?
Yeah, man. So, first of all, let me just say that if Michigan comes anywhere close, a sniff of this game, your squad, y'all should be clinching. Y'all should be clinching. We'll just leave that. We're talking about Michigan and Oregon right now. So obviously it's going to be a tremendous game for us. Will Johnson seems like he's going to be out. So just starting right there, having to march out there without trouble, that's going to be a tremendous thing, man. You're asking a lot of the other guys to have to step up and play without Will. But hey, it's a next man up kind of mentality. So you got to do what you got to do. If he's not healthy enough to go, he's not healthy enough to go. I did love that he and Sharon Moore dispelled the rumors of him, taking it in for the rest of the season. Again, I wouldn't have blamed him if that was the course of action that he was going to take. But it's seeming like it's a real thing, whatever it is, whatever the lower body injury it is that they're touting right now, and he plans to come back this season. So if that's his plans, then I'm cool with it. Mm-hmm. But you're asking a lot of Jair Hill, you're asking a lot of Amir Hall, Zeke Berry, I'm sure guys like maybe Miles Pollard or Josiah Edmond maybe are going to get some playing time here, because the way that Oregon deploys personnel and the speed at which they go, you're going to have to play guys. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to rotate a lot of guys in. So here's the only way that they make this even competitive, right? Number one, they've got to find a way to slow Oregon down. Absolutely. They got to find a way to slow Oregon down. I think the start of that is to make them decidedly one-dimensional. You have to take something away. Mm-hmm. Does it feel like you're going to be able to take the pass away from Oregon? No, it doesn't. So then what you're left with is making them so that Gabriel has to get up into the 40s and 50s on passing attempts, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, you want to be affecting him. Tackle well in the bubble screen game. Tackle well. Force them to throw something over the middle or down the field. That way, if they have no running game, You stifled the quick screen game, the RPO game. Now they're forced to push and press for deeper plays where you would think the Michigan defense is more susceptible. That is a better position for Michigan and the defense to be in, as opposed to trying to match scores or trying to keep up with Oregon's offensive pace. On offense, right, they are running into a stout run defense. They will be passing into a good passing defense as well, good secondary. So finding a way to keep them off balance, much like they did in the second half of the game last week versus Michigan State, is going to be paramount. I said this with Johnny last week on his call-in show. They can't be so slow to make a change. If Davis Warren and if having Davis Warren in affects the running game this week, the way it did versus Michigan State, you got to put Alex in to relieve some of that. You have to. And then when he gets in, you got to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball. We've played around with this too long for there to be any kind of mundanity left in it. Oh, we're only going to run with Alex. We're only going to pass with Davis Warner. No, you need Davis Warren to keep it on a read option. You need Alex Orji to throw it deep over the middle when he's in the game, to keep that balance so that they can't just play it based off of who's in the game, right? And don't be shy about leaning into one guy if he's successful. Will Howard was able to get some yards on the ground versus Oregon, right? He was able to do some things on the ground. If that's what's working, you better work it. You better work it, because I don't want to hear Davis is our guy when we have a chance to beat the number one team in the country. Whoever is winning at the time is our guy. You know what I mean? I understand the massaging of feelings, but not to the detriment of the team.
Now, to be fair, when we played them, they did not have Jordan Birch. Now, I don't know if he's playing today.
Yep. I don't know if he is either.
So we'll see about that. That'll probably be a huge wrench into that thought, at least. But
for sure, because Michigan has the same kind of questions at tackle. I think Andrew Gentry is going to play, but then again, I haven't seen the injury report, so we'll see how he does.
Yep.
I don't know. Other than that, man, there are not a whole lot of opportunities for Michigan to have mistakes, turnovers, penalties, dead drives. If there's an opportunity early to score points while Oregon is still getting their offensive rhythm, while, maybe they're dealing with, protection issues, because again, they are going to have to block the Michigan defensive line. My thought is that they're probably going to max protect and go deep. And if that's the case, you got to find a way to break that up. Now, if that's their only weapon, right, and they can't run the ball, okay, I don't necessarily hate where we're at with that. But again, you got to take something away. You got to affect Gabriel. If they're max protecting, then I'd say then you're affecting him in some way, shape, or form. You just have to have a counter move. Got to have some kind of counter. No more 5-6 man pressures though. Leave that alone.
Fair enough. Some safety.
Not on third down. No more bear defense on third down. Let's just stay in our base. Let's stay in what we know on third and long and get them boys off the field. This is not a game I want to see every third and long given up.
Some safety coverage will help. Keep some safety coverage over top because they're going to go for it. What up, Ryan Sims? Yeah, I'm still in this weird, conflicted situation, and I'm not going to admit, even if it does slide this way, that I'm rooting a little bit for Michigan to kind of come up on top versus Oregon. But again, Michigan, just do Michigan. Do you?
Yeah. I don't know if I can officially predict the upset here, but that is the roadmap to getting it done if they're going to do it, right? You make them one-dimensional. You affect Dylan Gabriel, and you hope that your offense can score enough points. Oregon's averaging 35 points a game. Take a touchdown away. And you got a chance. If you can do that, hell, if you take a touchdown away and get a defensive score, that is the recipe for an upset over or the number one Oregon Ducks right there. Get a defensive score, make them score 28 instead of 35. Maybe.
it's going to take some obvious luck at some level. Dylan Gabriel's going to have to call.
I would call it opportunism, but whatever.
Sure. Yeah, but it's going to take some freak accident like Dylan Gabriel coughing up a fumble or a pick. And you guys taking it.
Turnovers will be paramount, but it's not just the turnovers, right? You need to either stop them from scoring in that turnover so that you affect the score in that way, or you could just score the points yourself off of that turnover.
Sure. No, scoring the points off the turnover would be even.
They need
better.
A point swing. They need a 14-point swing at some point in this game. They need to take 7 points from Oregon and score 7 points that weren't expected.
Exactly. Yep. So I don't know. I mean, it can be done, but will it? And it's going to.
I feel like the last time we felt like this, it's a foregone conclusion that Michigan was just going to get their teeth kicked in, was after we lost to Texas, and then we barely beat Arkansas State, and it just felt like, all right, well, that's the season. Michigan's going to be shit now. And then we surprised, you know what I'm saying? We slowed the game down. My problem is that ever since that game, and then the following, really ever since that game, they've done everything in their power not to be that offensive. And it just maddens me. Now, I see it paying dividends in other parts of the program, right? Obviously, wink, wink. How does that help you win football games? Because again, if that is your mentality, period, that is going to lose you games even when you have the most talented of talented rosters. There is no cure-all for bad play calling and failures in philosophy, no matter how good the quarterback is. So, anyways, let's go blue. Go get you one. Go dunk hunting.
I feel so weird about this. I don't like it. I don't like being put in this situation. But if there's anything that we've seen throughout college football, we've seen Georgia go against Kentucky and have a shit game, and Bama. We've seen Bama lose to Tennessee or have a shit game against Tennessee and lose to Vandy. We've seen Texas not play so well. It can happen. We've seen Oregon not play so well, so it can happen.
There's too many marquee matchups to end this season for there not to be chaos. Why not start here? Let's just start here. Let's just start the chaos, right? Ohio State plays Penn State and Indiana. Indiana plays Ohio State and Michigan. Penn State gets to dip out on Michigan and Oregon. But let's get some chaos.
Yeah.
Get some chaos.
Some chaos that doesn't include the Buckeyes, because we're going to win out. We've already had our chaos for the year.
What is the next game up? Make sure you guys are giving your thoughts on these games as we're covering us as well. We don't want to leave you guys out. If you got any score predictions or anything like that, we'll definitely go ahead and throw them up.
Especially score predictions, because I am terrible at calling scores.
Yeah, not really good at score predictions, but yeah.
Oh, shit. I agree. I hate being in the situation, but good luck to our team today. Facts. I'm actually rooting for the cheaters. If they beat Oregon, we have a higher chance of getting to the Big Ten championship game. Hey,
if you also beat Penn State today, right? Because then if we beat Oregon and y'all beat Penn State, you're in the exact same spot you were walking in today's game.
I'm assuming that's with the assumption that we're going to win out.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Which will happen.
Wouldn't that be some shit though? Like if we were able to beat Oregon and then
don't even. That
would end up helping us.
We're doing our best to wish you good luck. Don't go that way. Don't do that.
That would end up helping us, because then y'all would have 2 Big Ten losses.
I hate this.
We would have 2 Big Ten losses. Penn State wouldn't have any. Oregon would have 1. The only thing we would need to do is have Oregon lose 1 more game, and we be in business, baby. It'd be a Penn State, Michigan. Oh shit, Indiana. Yeah, we would have to beat Indiana. We both would have to beat Indiana, though. We'd have to beat them both.
Do you see why you don't give Michigan players good luck, or Michigan fans? Anybody?
Oh my God. Absolute pandemonium if that happens today.
This is why you don't wish them good luck.
Absolute pandemonium if that happens.
They find a way to get into your kitchen and take the entire fridge when you offered them a sandwich.
No, it's so simple. Y'all have a close fight versus Penn State. you lose. Then Penn State is the clear now number one favorite to go to the Big Ten Championship because we also beat Oregon, right? They're them in Indiana. But now Indiana got to come see us and Ohio State. They could lose in back-to-back weeks. So then now Michigan's sitting here. If we went out, obviously, we'll be sitting here with an 8-2 Big Ten record, sitting up next to Penn State with an undefeated Big Ten record. But then there's going to be who else? Who else is there? Who else is there? It'll be Michigan, Penn State in the Big Ten championship game.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. We're offering this man a sandwich, and he came in and took the entire refrigerator.
Oh shit! Hey man,
somebody does have to be Oregon though. That is factual.
Yeah, no, they would have to lose again, I believe, right? So yeah, they would have to lose too. They'd have to lose to us and then to another team.
How did we get here? Anyway, all right, moving on now. USC versus Washington. It's at home. Washington has been known to play some good football throughout the season. USC and Lincoln Riley has shit the bed quite a few times this season. For that reason, I will take Washington, but it could very well be a close one.
It is hard to root for the USC Trojans right now, man. It's almost like if they don't have a top flight quarterback, they can't even compete. Which is,
I thought Miller Moss was going to be that guy.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. Like,
I thought he was going to be that guy after the first.
We were talking about having a transfer portal like proven quarterback to plug into a system. If Miller Moss ends up in the transfer portal, Michigan better make a call. Make a call. Right? Because he's gonna play in a much more controlled system and not be asked to do so much and have an actual defense behind him. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think he's actually serviceable.
Oh, he is
more than serviceable. He has pretty good arm talent too.
Yeah.
It's just the way that they play. It's really not advantageous to winning. They're pedal to the metal, and they have to be this year because again, the defense is not what everyone thought it was in the first 3 or 4 games of the season. Surprise, surprise. And their coaching philosophy is still score at the blink of an eye. So even if they get a 14, 20 point lead, it's not safe. Mm-hmm. It's not safe because they score in less than 3 minutes a pop, and they're going to give infinite opportunities to the opposing offense to march down the field and score. And the longer that goes on, the more the momentum starts to tilt. See, it feels a certain way when you're up and you have that score and you're scoring quickly. But if you're not getting stops and you're scoring fast, and then all of a sudden, one possession, you go for a field goal instead of a touchdown. Okay, now it's tilted. Now it's tilted because they've possessed the ball longer. They have more yards. Your defense is tired. Their defense is fresh because they haven't played nearly as many snaps. And now you're in a fourth quarter fight because they've managed to chip away. You're bleeding. Now you need to get up in the fourth quarter and you don't have it.
Or overtime.
You're flat. Yeah, you're flat. The Maryland game really did it for me, man. The Maryland game really did it for me because I'm like, there's absolutely no way y'all should even be in overtime, let alone losing this game. So I'm going Washington as well. Give me Jed Fish.
Yeah, so let me I guess clarify what I meant with Miller Moss. Not that he's not a really solid quarterback, because he has been pretty much all season. I think when I say I thought he was going to be that guy, I guess I just thought, with the game, the overtime game against Penn State, the game against Maryland, even the game against Minnesota and you guys, like these are all 1-score games. And sure. I thought he would be at least after the first couple games, I thought he would be the difference to take them above in some of those closer games. And unfortunately, it just hasn't panned their way.
Sure.
But he is still very much so a quarterback that would be serviceable for any team, really, to be honest with you. He's a good quarterback. But yes, no, I still have Washington winning this one. Just because Washington, I feel like they've been playing, even at the same record, I feel like they've been playing much better football. They just haven't been able to eke out some of these wins against Washington State and Rutgers and some other teams. It's just they haven't been able to win some of those games, unfortunately. So It is what it is.
For sure, for sure. Let us know what you think about USC and Washington.
Facts. Okay, I guess that leaves us with one last game, which is Wisconsin versus Iowa at 7:30. Who would have thought Wisconsin versus Iowa would get the 7:30 game this week? But
hey, you know what? I like playing. I like playing during the day. I like playing when the sun is up. I feel like Michigan plays a little bit better.
Much more of your day, especially when you win. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm having.
I also don't like watching all the mayhem and then having to cap it off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of expectation. You get a chance to see how everybody else slipped up, and it's like, all right, don't you do that? Don't you be the one? Like, I would have liked to have my win out of the way and then have everybody else nervous about, shit, they won. Now we gotta win. You know, I want everybody else to feel that way. I don't want to.
Your Saturday feels so much better when you already secured the win.
Yeah, for sure. Give me the Hawkeyes. This feels kind of like the game that they had versus Illinois. Right? Yep. Similar philosophies in how they're going to try and move the ball. Personnel is similar. I think that right now Illinois and Wisconsin are kind of carbon copies of each other. To be honest with you. A little bit different similarities, a little bit more RPO on Illinois' side as opposed to Philongo in Wisconsin. But in terms of how the season is played out, in terms of, well, Illinois is a little bit better. They're a little bit better record-wise than Wisconsin. But in terms of how they play offensively, the personnel that they have, how they deploy, they're kind of similar. I expect Iowa to kind of exploit Wisconsin's run defense until they prove that they can be stout and stop it. And if that doesn't happen, then we'll get a heavy dose of Johnson, and I think they'll probably go the same way as Illinois. So give me Iowa tonight.
I agree. I think Iowa's going to win this one. I think with Wisconsin, they started off the season really slow, and unfortunately, since then they've gotten off to a point where they've started to look a little bit better, but at the same time, they haven't really played as the Wisconsin we've known them to be, right? The Big Ten West leader, Wisconsin, is not who they are currently.
No.
And I think that boils down to the fact that Luke Fickell really hasn't found their identity as what they're going to be with him yet.
Sure.
But they have been able to take some solid wins, and even a 28-13 loss against Penn State looks like a good game versus what they were at the beginning of the season, comparatively speaking. Losing to Bama 42-10 is not.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was kind of an early warning sign of things to come, I guess, was that Bama game. Because even seeing how Bama is a flawed team, you would have thought that they'd be able to do a little bit more, be a little bit more competitive. But
Facts.
See how it went.
Well, that is all of the games for this week for the Big Ten. But you wanted to talk about some recruiting stuff.
Hey, man, fireworks is going off in Ann Arbor. Got the number 2 tackle in the country. Your boy Andrew Babaloa, 5-star. Yeah.
5-star,
and
okay.
Then we went hunting down in SEC country. We went hunting down in Athens and got us a top 100 corner. You know what I'm saying? There are reports that there is a certain Clemson decommit that is also showing up in Ann Arbor tonight, as well as potentially, who knows? What was that? What was his name? Flowers? Was it Derek Flowers from the commit to LSU? The top receivers in the country. Potential teammates of Bryce Underwood.
Okay,
current signing.
So then we can basically chalk this up to the fact that Michigan seems to be willing to play the NIL game now.
So seemingly. I was going to say, from what I've heard, this is at least the Bryce Underwood part of it. Babaloa was always their top target. Shamari Earls was a flip target way back during the summer. With the Bryce Underwood thing specifically, apparently there's a group of boosters that after seeing this year's, what we've ran out at quarterbacks, got very motivated about keeping Bryce home, where they weren't, I guess, as motivated before. I don't know how that worked out. But it's supposedly there's a group of boosters. Well, no, it's not Portnoy.
I know.
Yeah, I would say Portnoy wants a transfer portal guy. He wants a Cam Ward. He wants something like that.
Oh yeah, no, that's
but shit, $3 million, man. What? I mean, maybe we don't get Cam Ward, but we can go find somebody like that now. I love the idea of Bryce Underwood, being the prodigal son, staying home at Michigan, and leading us to a great future. But him gonna be a freshman. Would you rather have Cam Ward or Nico Maliava right now?
Davis is going to be your Cam Ward.
Even still, he's a year ahead of Bryce Underwood. You know what I mean? And just the way that quarterback development would go, I would expect there to be a more seasoned option, even if Bryce Underwood comes. Neither here nor there. Getting back to the booster stuff, this seems to be a little bit more booster driven to get Bryce Underwood to flip back, which, hey, if it's in-house Michigan, everybody working towards the same cause, I guess I don't really mind it. But I just I thought it was interesting. You know what I mean? Fireworks going off.
Yeah, no, it is very interesting. And like you said, it's very clearly this team of boosters that are opening their pockets to make it happen. It's just interesting to see that college football has changed even the most stingiest of programs to be like, okay, yeah, maybe we might need to kind of look at this NIL.
You know what? I mean, if we are making it fair for everybody, there's going to be revenue sharing across not revenue sharing, but at least I guess that is revenue sharing. Yeah, the $20 million is supposed to go to every program or whatever across conference. And then even furthermore, there's going to be discussions about those TV contracts. But I like that if everybody's on the same page about it and we can kind of work towards a number that everybody has to stay under. I like that a lot more than, I told Michigan I was going to commit Miami, but, send the bag man up my way and I'll decommit and I'll be in Miami Beach tomorrow. I've been committed to Michigan for the last 3 months, but, FedEx rolled in and now I'm going to go sit on a 3-4 team because they told me I was going to be the future. Whatever. Right? Like that kind of stuff. That is bad. I feel like that's part of it. And then there's stuff on the player side too. The kind of gambit of playing universities against each other for the dollar amount. Like I don't love any of that either. But I think there's a way to do it fairly where everybody's on the same page. And we're getting closer to that now than some of the other NIL conversations that were being had at the very inception of this. The Dante Moore kind of stuff, the CJ Cars, the guys that they've missed out on previously. Walter Nolan comes to mind. Was it Raekwon Smith? Aaron Childs to Florida. Like, it's recruitments like that where you lose it because you're just not willing to get into a bidding contest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that in general, but the closer we get to a solid number for rosters that everybody has to get under, the less and less that will be a reality because you're only going to be able to spend so much anyways, right? And so then now the conversation goes back to what it was before, which is what else do you have in your program? Like who's going to be coaching me? How do you develop? Where am I going to go in the draft? All of that. Yes. But a salary cap doesn't come unless you have some sort of collective bargaining. Collective bargaining doesn't happen unless you unionize on the player side. That's the most important thing to me is that the players come to their senses and they stop chasing these dollar amounts from these universities and they look at each other and say, we as a whole, as a collective can go out and negotiate our ceilings every 4 years, every 10 years, whatever. But at least it's someone from our perspective and our perspective only, not the university, not the conference, just the players advocate only that's trying to get our money. Makes much more sense. But yeah, a salary cap would be nice.
Factual. All right. Well, it is 12 o'clock, which means our game is about to start rolling.
For sure.
Any other thoughts before we get out of here?
That's it for me, man. Hey, listen, goodwill hunting for all of your teams, unless you are a Buckeye or a Duck. Share, subscribe, come and hit us up next week for another Big at 11 kickoff show. We're doing all the Big Ten shows. Appreciate all of y'all, man. External server, appreciate you as well. We'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody who joined us today. Shout out to the people who will like the video. Shout out to the people who watch on repeat. Shout out to the subscribers. Shout out to the potential subscribers. Shout out to all y'all. Make sure you subscribe. And on that note, we are out. Peace.